From one deadline in the space of 31 days to 2 in 5 days, it's safe to say game weeks are coming thick and fast with double game weeks approaching, especially for Man City. Does Liverpool have a double? We do not possibly know, but what we'll certainly deliver to you tonight is another edition of the FPL Addicts podcast. Fantasy managers, welcome back to another edition of the FPL Addicts podcast. This time, we'll call it co-host for myself, Charlie Roberts, who's also a massive enthusiast with Dominic Solanke, and as well, FPL Addicts, Reedy. Reedy, I will say good morning to you. How are we this morning, heading into Game Week 23 and the Game Week 22 that has just gone by?
Yes, good morning, Charlie, mate. Hope you're well. Good evening, I should say to yourself, obviously. What a good sort of I say a good intro. I mean, Game Week 22. We're now into Game Week 23 this weekend. The football's kind of back after that long, horrible winter break plus FA Cup, and after the action-packed Christmas period that we have, it's nice to kind of get into a rhythm now, mate. So yeah, I'm doing well. It's good to be back on with yourself, and I'm keen to get stuck into things.
Before we get to the FPL agenda, I'm not sure if many people have come across our tweets recently, but not just me, but another Australian, along with Jack Gillibrand, who did it halfway through last year, Oliver Walker-Peel, made the hike to Merseyside not long ago. Reedy, talk to us through that. How was it meeting him?
Well, you make it sound as if he walked when you say hike. But I get what you mean. I get what you're saying. He came over, didn't he, to England, or the UK, I suppose you call it. Got about, didn't he? He was in Dublin as well. He went to a couple of football games, Blackburn Rovers,
Luton,
Spurs Stadium, Luton, Burnley. Did a few bits, and then obviously met up with ourselves in Liverpool. Had a bit of a meet up and a bit of food and stuff. It was great. It was great to finally meet him. Top lad. Got nothing but good words to say about him, and it was fantastic. It was a shame that it wasn't just a bit longer, but yeah, Ollie's a top man. So I'm really grateful we finally got to meet him. Elliot's the only one now. Elliot's the one that's the missing man that we haven't got to see. Yeah. But I'm sure at some point, whether it's in the next year, the next 10 years, we'll get to see him. So yeah, it was great to meet Ollie. Buzzing.
Yeah. I think with Elliot, look, Elliot, it is your turn, but he'll probably go to Saudi Arabia first and invest into Newcastle Football Club.
Yeah, I'm sure he will.
Yeah.
But yeah, fantastic. I made up. We got to meet him and stuff like that. And Mikey came as well. Rev came.
That was a great effort for him.
The only problem is he came in his Everton coat, which was a bit disappointing about. What can you do, these blue noses?
There's not a whole lot you can do. That's one for sure. Reedy, before we get into our mini league, I want to talk to you briefly about the January deadline signings, how the football landscape has treated you recently. I have seen recently you've gone to a couple of FPL matches.
Yeah, so in terms of sort of going to games and stuff like that, managed to get to the FA Cup against Norwich last Sunday. That was a great game. Connor Bradley, man of the match in that one, who I'm sure we'll highlight, shortly. In terms of FPL, whether people are getting him and stuff like that is another story. But great game, Norwich game. Took my daughter to her first game. She absolutely loved it. Couldn't get enough. And that sort of buzz that you get as a kid when you go to your first game is just, you can't beat it. You can't replicate that. So yeah, did that. I went to the Chelsea game as well on Wednesday. That was unbelievable.
Yeah,
Atmosphere was spot on. Obviously the big announcement, as we all know, that Klopp's leaving at the end of the season. No tears. Don't worry. I've held them back until near the end. See what happens first in the league. We need to keep on going, keep on pushing. But Chelsea game was great. 4-1. Can't ask for more, Chazza. So I've been lucky enough in that sense, to go to a couple of games.
2-3 goal wins within the space of a week. It's very handy. Do you feel the atmosphere inside Anfield has lifted all of a sudden after the announcement?
Yeah, I believe so. I think it's settling in and kind of, well, not settling in, but setting in that, Klopp's only got 10 games left at Anfield now, which is crazy to think of. So, the atmosphere's there, the crowd fully sort of, behind the team, and, it's showing on the pitch. So hopefully we can keep that momentum and every game, every second, every minute counts in terms of being able to push us on to try and win a few more trophies before Klopp goes.
Yeah, I just feel now with the Klopp announcement, I feel it's written stars that Liverpool win the league with their crowd behind them, because it was a bit unfortunate in 2019-20 how you guys won it. And you're by far the best team that season, but in front of no one, which is sad, to be fair.
Yeah, it is crazy how that kind of panned out and that happened.
Such a good team.
Some people will say, like, oh, well, you did it without any fans and other stuff like that. Like, I kind of get it. I do get that. But at the same time, you've won the league. You do not care. You know what I mean? Like, it took us long enough, let's be honest. So whether we won it, with fans there or without fans there, it's still an achievement, great achievement. I'm sure, like other like yourselves, I think it was that season you won the FA Cup, maybe. I can't think, actually. I think
it was a while ago.
Yeah,
I think he did a good job.
Yeah. So it's a shame, but I mean, if he, I don't want to jinx it, and as you say, you think he'll win the league. Hopefully we do, because as we know, City are just bread and butter. Second half of the season, win games like it's nothing, and they have got an easy fixture run. And for us, it's going away. The likes of yourselves on Sunday, they're going to be tough games. So we've got to be right on it. Any slip ups, any points dropped, that's it. City are right down your neck, as you know from last year, matey.
Just to the comments before we go to our mini league scores. John David, good morning, good evening to you, wherever you may be watching or tuning into this podcast. Always good to catch you. Yes, you've come at the right time. Good week for yourself. Jump from 1.9 million to 1.3 million overall. That's a very good start indeed. Tom, good morning to you. Hello all. I must say, probably arguably our number one supporter for the channel. And Gary, hello Addicts. Good morning to you. I presume you're in the UK, but who knows? The Nordic Meat Shield is back. Yes, he is. However, in my eye, firstly, it's great to see him, but I'm not sure if he saw much of the game really, but he was still rusty on the counter-attack. And for me, he needs to get 30 or more minutes at Brentford on Monday before he starts his first league game. Are you in agreement with that?
I really don't know on this one, because it's different with De Bruyne, the big injury that he had. He was out for so long and so on. He started against Burnley, got brought off for Haaland after, 65 or something. So I really don't know what Pep's thinking at the minute, like in terms of who he starts, who he gives minutes to, because they have got a tough run coming up in terms of 4 games in a short space of time. They've got Champions League to think about, a double game week and all that sort of stuff. So it's like, I feel like once Haaland is back, he'll be back. And I do feel like KDB's minutes are going to be sort of divided and shared out. I don't think he'll be starting every game, and I don't think he'll be playing full 90 minutes and stuff like that. So for me, I mean, you'll find out soon what I did, which is quite, I know you'll laugh, I know in you.
No, but, all good. Save it till later on, because that's what makes this podcast amazing.
Yeah, I think Haaland, personally, I think he starts Brentford, but,
okay.
We'll see. Yeah.
So De Bruyne on Wednesday night against Burnley played probably more than expected, 71 minutes.
71 he got, yeah.
So that's actually not that bad, to be fair. Colm, I know you got another comment, but we will move on to our agenda. We'll get to, I'll just add it to the stage now, our mini league. We'll start from the bottom, and I know the person at, I'll call it hike to Merseyside in Ollie Walker-Peel. He got 35, but in terms of game week scores from all of our members, you either had such a wonderful week between the 65 to 70 mark, or you were down in the meltdown 30s. So Ollie's side, this is where it was. Got a return from Zinchenko, Kudus assist, and a Richarlison goal, Foden assist as well. But outside of that, the captaincy armband stank.
Yeah. It did stink. I can't say too much, but we'll see that in a minute. I mean, you know what? I can't blame him. It's difficult when you're having a tough time in FPL. You want to kind of decide what do. You're making moves where you feel like it's either players other teams have already got, or you go a bit rogue, you go a bit out there, and you kind of think, right, I need to climb and I need to make a big jump. He's gone for Haaland armband. I mean, in Ollie's position, I can't really blame him. I mean, what? He could have put the armband on Foden. Yeah. I mean, listen, he'd have got an extra 6 points.
Yeah.
Extra 6 points with that, and he'd have got 1 point from Haaland. So realistically speaking, Charlie, it's not that big of a difference in my opinion. That those 6 points are nothing. But if Haaland comes on there, he came on for 20 minutes. I know he had chances in the game.
Yeah.
And he bangs a couple of goals in. Happy days. Some people might call it stupid. Some people might call it just, brave and ballsy. So, unlucky for Ollie. Disappointing. But, he did get a few decent little points. Zinchenko, Foden, Richarlison. It's just those other players like the likes of Isaac, Haaland, and Trent as another one, obviously, with him only coming on and playing, not long in the Liverpool game. So I'm sure he'll want to forget about this week, won't he, Chazza? On to the next one for Ollie.
That's right. I actually didn't mind the decision benching Palmer over Jared Bowen. I felt he was unlucky with the outcome of Jared Bowen. Ready, your side. You feel free to take the limelight. I will mention one thing out, however, the biggest differential. Well done on the Udogie goal.
Wow, finally. I'm sat there looking at Porro owners thinking, what? Why have I got Udogie? I mean, I know why I've got Udogie because I couldn't afford Porro at the time. But I've brought Udogie in. He's kind of like just looked a little bit meh, to be honest, like especially with Spurs conceding and stuff. And yeah, he's not really picked up any points. But for him to get a 10-pointer, I'm delighted with that. I can't lie, Chazza. So yeah, I'll take that and run. Yeah, especially with Arsenal. Going back to defenders, I mean, you boys conceding right near the end to Forest. Done a lot of managers. I hate that so much. Yeah, a lot of managers out of a clean sheet. Whether you had Saliba, Gabriel, Zinchenko obviously got his 7-pointer because of his assist and so on. But Saliba right at the end. Stupinan. I mean,
that was terrible. That was awful from Brighton. They've dropped off.
What's going on, Chaz? I mean, what is going on?
I think there's a lack of creativity going on there. And I think with De Zerbi's philosophy, he's all of a sudden gone from super attack, never keep a clean sheet, to very defensive, and to now, from what I saw in the Luton game, to complete no man's land. Yeah, it's crazy. I mean, Brighton are just so hit and miss this season. They've conceded so many goals, but to go away to Luton, I mean, who've made the Kenny actually a bit of a fortress, if you like, this season. It's a hard ground to go to now. It definitely is. We struggle. I mean, we drew 1-1. Other teams have struggled there. Yeah, so we managed to win right at the death as well. So a Stupinan 0-pointer wasn't great. But yeah, moving on to other things, as you say, Diego Jota. Nice pick. Great pick, by the way. And Alvarez too. Great hole. I mean, Jota owners and also our Nunes owners, as in Darwin Nunes, will be feeling a little bit disappointed with how that worked out because Jota won the penalty. If Darwin would have scored, he would have got an assist. If you've captained Jota, then he probably gets bonus and stuff like that we're talking about. So he's really unlucky. He only got 8, but I'm happy with that move. Brought him in for Salah for now. And pays off. Gross, we won't even go there. As we said, Brighton are trash at the minute. Foden 6-pointer out very wide at the minute. Like the thing about Foden is, I'll talk on that because we're going to talk about City in a bit. Yeah, but I just don't know. 6 points is a bit against Burnley. You're probably expecting more. And Saka, I mean, great hold. Do you keep him? Do you sell him? I think you keep him at the moment. He just returns a 10-pointer when you don't think he's going to. I think that's big. That is big against Forest. And you probably would have expected it. If you had a Forest away game, you would think, I'm going to hold that guy.
Yeah. I mean, the two biggest ones, well, I say two biggest, probably one of the biggest ones is a birthday brace for a Mr. Julian Alvarez was something that made me happy. I kept hold of him. Luckily, when I brought Haaland in, I didn't take Alvarez out. I did it for Archer. So that was one thing I got right, albeit that I captained Haaland and went a bit bold and stupid and whatever you want to call it.
I think, just to double check. Yeah, that is a green arrow, so not bad at all.
I did just by 3 points, Chaz. So, okay. Watkins got his goal. I'll take that.
That was big.
Points. We move, mate. We move on. Yeah.
That's right. Rev market. Oh, geez. You probably want to hit 38 points. You had a Stupinian as well. Look, I'll give him credit. The captain call went correct. Out of all plays, he got actually, yeah, he did, but benched. Oh, jeez.
Yeah. His bench is. He's done it this season again. Newcastle and Everton players keep absolutely shafting him. He keeps benching him, so I'm sure he'll hate us saying that. But I mean, on another day, Alisson keeps it clean against Chelsea. He gets an extra 4 points. Bowen does something against Bournemouth. Just a bit unlucky on that sense. But yeah, I know Rev, Mikey won't be happy about that. But could have went better. He's just a bit unlucky, I'd say. I think the benching, right? Let's talk about that. Would you have played?
Yeah, we should.
Would you have played those two players?
I'll probably, or maybe Trippier first sub over Palmer because I don't. In fairness for Palmer, he should have got a penalty away at Anfield. But Porro at home to Brentford, you would play Estupinian 100%, and then the others I probably would.
So Everton played Fulham, right? I'd have personally played Trippier over Trent because of the Conor Bradley situation, him coming back. Yeah, and I'd have probably, I say probably, it's a tough call playing Branthwaite as well, but it was a good fixture for Everton. You know what I mean? In terms of away to Fulham, both of them not really doing much at the minute. Both of them have been losing and a bit poor. I think the Trippier one is the one where he should have probably played over Trent. Everything else, he's probably got it right.
Yeah.
Captain on Jota as well, actually. Imagine he hadn't have done that. Oh, God.
Yeah, it would have been awful, but he did nail that one, and that's pretty damn good for him. So there's a consolation prize if you were trying to search one. Now, this is a team I've been looking forward to look at all day. Jack's team. A very good 73 points.
Yeah.
This is outstanding.
I mean, De Bruyne captain.
Neto, Udogie, and then he had Saka and Alvarez. And Cunha on the bench, who did get an assist, but got booked.
Yeah, I mean, he's got 2 Spurs. He's got Pedro Neto. He went for De Bruyne. He has gone a bit bold, I'd say, Jack.
He has, yeah. It paid off this week.
It's definitely paid off this week, 100%. What a great score. Did he take any hits this week, or did he?
No hits,
no hits. So it's a solid score for Jack, and yeah, brilliant. Brilliant. I like Pedro Neto last night, just doing bits for him.
Yeah, the Neto pick. So he's got 3 London-based clubs and then Sheffield United, Newcastle. It's okay. I'll give you that. But 2% owned. That's not a bad differential.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, he'll be buzzing with that, Jack. Albeit it nearly cost United 3 points. So that would have been at the expense of that. Would he have preferred, United to win over FPL points more than likely? So yeah, he's won on both points there. His team have won, and he's got a haul from Neto.
Yeah,
win-win.
You take it indeed. Elliot, who's just not far behind me, 41 points. Don't get nervous. I'm starting to feel a little bit shaky. Do you know what I mean? So he fielded Trippier, which was a really good call at the end. And Ward-Prowse, I actually like this guy as a differential. I feel that if midfields weren't so popular this season, Ward-Prowse would have far more ownership. He's only at 9%.
Yeah, he most certainly would. He's on all the set pieces. He's clearly, I mean, it's great that he's took that penalty now because it kind of does make him a bit more appealing. It's similar in a way to someone who else? There's someone else like Gross, for example. He's got Gross in his team, takes the set pieces, all that sort of stuff. But Ward-Prowse is he's been ticking over. I mean, how many points is he on at the moment, Chaz, at Ward-Prowse for the season?
On over 100 points for the season, on 101, but he's had 2 goals and an assist in his last 4.
Yeah, he does go through a little period, a little spell where he kind of, he gets his 2-3 points and things like that in games, but then he'll pop up with a double digit and kind of climb back up. He's under the radar, but I think what's difficult about Ward-Prowse is he's 6'1" now, 6'2", around that price.
Oh, he's really not that much. Yeah, 6 million.
Oh, is he 6 mil now? So yeah, if you fancy him over a Palmer at some point, then happy days, because they both take pens and stuff. And yeah, fair play to Elliot. Fair play.
It's actually not a bad score. Man, I'll go quickly to me. 57. Look, it was okay, but just a tiny red arrow on this. I think a Doughty pick was really good. De Bruyne did help out Foden, Watkins, but Dominic Solanke, that was big this morning, and that was it.
Yeah, you needed those Solanke points, didn't you? And I think you appreciated them a lot, because it took you, it took you up above that 50. I mean, nearer to 60, I suppose, is the thing. And you've got some Zinchenko points. You've got your Doughty. Oh, interesting to ask you there, Chaz. How many points have you got from Doughty since you brought him in?
Yeah, so I got 5 against Burnley and then 6 against Brighton. So he's gonna you'll find out my defensive conundrum come later on, but he's gonna go in the team come next week away at Newcastle. He just looks so dangerous on the attack.
Yeah, and I think it's interesting considering we're talking about double game weeks and things like that. It could be today that it's announced Liverpool get the double game week, or there's actual talk of that not being put in 25 and it being Bournemouth Luton instead. So that would then actually be really appealing for Doughty, as and Solanke as well, obviously. So we'll wait and see what happens with that one, who gets the double and stuff like that. But it'd be interesting.
Yeah, but you know what, Chris? There's probably one player that none of us own, but I really like the look of him, especially in home games. Michael Elise. What's your take on him?
Yeah, it's something that I've spoke about recently with a few people. Obviously, Eze was a big kind of talking point for last game week, and people were making decisions of who they sell Salah for, and even Eze, being a captain pick as well, captain shout. People did bring him in. People did captain him. I didn't go there personally, as we've seen, but I mean, I will say that when they are both playing, when they're both fit and they're both starting games, they are really, really dangerous, and they're going to get goals. They're going to get assists. The only issue with it is Palace's fixtures. Some games they're not great, and also it's injury, because
that injury really put people off. He missed the Arsenal game.
Pick up injuries, they both seem to get injured here, there, and everywhere, I suppose, and they're out for then a bit. So it's always going to be great picks, but just throw a bit caution to the wind. You've got to realise the risk if you are going to help them. But they are great.
I do agree. I think when Eze and Elise both played together, each other, they're both better picks.
Yeah. Great picks.
They are.
It's whether you can fit them in, and over the next few game weeks, we've got blanks to consider.
Oh, we do.
Balls to consider, all that business.
Indeed. Straight to our public league. Now, Stephen Smalley is all of a sudden increased his gap up to 57 points, having got a 73-point game week score, which is fair play to him. He's by far and beyond the best fantasy manager out there.
Is this is this Smalley, is it?
Yeah, Smalley, yeah. And what I love about this straight away is Alvarez captain. What? Hang on, whoa. How's Michael Elise on the bench?
Third bench from Smalley.
7 points. You're taking that. Oh my god.
Oh god. Did he bring him in, or was he held him? Like what?
Let me have a look. I'll go to his game. Sorry, no, I got it wrong. He got 449th this game week, which is astonishing.
Let's have a look.
So that's his overall rank. Wait. No, that's his overall rank. He's 450th. That's crazy.
Yeah, I was going to say that. He's
got Elise in 3 game weeks ago, and he still benched him. Who would you have taken him out? That's what I'm trying to figure out.
I'd have benched Palmer.
I agree. What is that? Come on.
Yeah, I'd have benched Palmer. But you know what? Mental. it is mental. But think of the score he could have got, which is
Oh
mental
my
as well.
God,
You know,
yeah.
he'd have been on like 89 points. But you know, listen, 73 still. He's absolutely killing it. 449 or something in the world. Unbelievable from Smalley. Unbelievable.
It is quite mental.
Yeah. The Women's League, right, Chas?
The Women's League, I think I've got it. I'm just trying to... Yeah, okay, hang on. Yeah, that's correct. So the Women's League, so between the Public League, 2nd to 10th is 22 points. I'll go to the Women's League now, and it's a lot tighter than as opposed to the other one. So Helen Metcalf is still up there, Hells Angels. 1 hit is all it takes. In second, I'll go to this team quickly with 70 points up the top, who's currently leading. She's 11K, which is very impressive in itself. Some very good picks.
Great picks, mate. And do you know what? This is probably one of the first times, I know there's been a couple, but where somebody's got the bench right. If you look at a bench,
I agree.
I know Sanchez is injured, but she's bench Palmer, you know, Senesi, Taylor. Every player she's put on the pitch is literally the right pick. So, yeah, Trippier, obviously, great pick. She's captain Foden. Perfect. Couldn't have got it any better.
I want to go to this guy very quickly because I want to talk about his assist. So it was awarded and then it didn't get awarded. When you look back at it on replay, it hit the woodwork and it ricocheted off a player, I think, and then it went in from Fabio Schär, I think. Should that have been rightly awarded, or was it the correct decision to not be awarded?
No, I think it was fine. I don't think there was an issue with that. And you know, it's a close call always, isn't it? Always seems to be the case. But no, I think they got it right. In my opinion. Do you disagree on that one? Do you think he should have got it?
Okay, so I think there's been some assists awarded in recent years in which it was similar to that. And I thought he was unlucky, but I was really not happy with the lack of communication by official FPL towers. I know they're so-called towers. And I did bench him, but I just thought it was poor transparency for his owners.
Yeah.
I wasn't really impressed by that, to be fair with you. Before we get to preview, I just want to get to a couple of questions. So, Cole Mars, are we going to get a triple game week this season, or will the double game week finally be announced Liverpool in game week 25? Brady, I want you to answer this, but I'll just say briefly, I had a look briefly at their schedule, and their triple game week, should it be the case later in the season, is going to be absolute chaos. So I really should announce it now. Yeah,
I think if it doesn't get announced, you know, I say if it doesn't get announced, I think it will soon, but it just makes it so much more difficult, and they kind of set themselves up to be in a tough position by not putting it in that game week 25, because, you know, I think there was talk of it could go in 28, but if we're still in the FA Cup, if we're still in the Europa League, at those stages, it just makes it really difficult then for them to reschedule games. So I don't see why they wouldn't, and they'd just do it now, you know. But yeah, keep your ears open and your eyes peeled, Colin. We could be getting an announcement pretty soon. I know that Ben Crellin posted something yesterday on Twitter about it and so on. So yeah, expect it to be made pretty soon, wouldn't you say, Chazza?
I really hope so. Well, I had a look at a source that they've blocked stadium tours for Wednesday the 21st of February UK time. So you'd think that Luton game gets slotted straight in. And good evening to you as well, Quentin. Hopefully you jump on, but we'll see about that. So, all right. So that's game week 22. Was there... before I get to the preview, I want to talk about Connor Bradley. And I want to talk about it from your eyes because you're at the game. How did he perform in general, and do you see him keeping his spot?
I do, yeah. I think he will keep his spot for now. It's a big game on Sunday against Arsenal. You know, huge game.
Is he ready for a big game such as that, you think?
I think he is. Yeah, absolutely think he is. He's been magnificent, absolutely magnificent. Young kid coming into the team. You know, obviously we saw what Manu did for Man United last night. What a goal, by the way! What a goal! But Bradley is just been excellent. He's gone from strength to strength. Looks so comfortable in that right back spot. And yeah, Trent's got a bit of work on his hands, and will he move into midfield? We don't know. In terms of FPL, is Trent an option? I wouldn't be buying.
I'll say it now, but before I do, I just want to acknowledge this very quickly. Harry, FPL Harry, thank you for tuning in. Good evening to you. Well, good morning from where you are, and keep his spot over Trent, which I know you've said you have. So he's the 6th most transferred in play. He's about to approach 1%. And I think this is a game which really tingles a lot of decisions from a lot of fantasy managers. So if he keeps his spot, a lot of people will go for that train for the double game week for him because he's 4 million. But if he doesn't, I don't think so. I think probably the safest pick is Virgil van Dijk because he'll start every single game.
Yeah, he is, but I mean he's 6.3 mil or something around that price now.
2 million cheaper than Trent.
Yeah, he is, but there's another issue with that. Now, the other issue with Connor Bradley, going back to that one, is that yes, okay, you bring him in now, he still starts the games and so on. Now, the Brentford game that's currently penciled in, and that is going to go ahead. Obviously, we don't know if the Luton game then comes. We've also got a League Cup final to contend with. That is going to be a congested period of games. And personally, with Trent coming back, I don't think that it's a good move to go for Connor Bradley, although I do believe he'll keep his spot and so on. I just think it's going to get a little bit messy with, further down the line, and you're going to find yourself where he's not going to be nailed. So I think he's a great pick. As I say, he's 4 million. He's so tempting for people. However, Trent is always there. And most people probably expect for Trent to slot straight back in against Arsenal, which he could by all means.
Yeah, I think Klopp does, in fairness.
Yeah. So I just avoid Bradley, though, from an FPL point of view. I just wouldn't go for him personally.
Not now. I think in the future, absolutely. If he carries on like this. He'd look amazing.
Yeah.
That's the thing. I think with a Luton game, Trent gets hooked off 65 minutes in. Bradley plays 25 of it. And then Alexander-Arnold starts the League Cup final.
Yeah.
Klopp's got some hard decisions to make. And it's a shame he's leaving now because he's got such massive produce out of that football club. It's amazing what he's done.
Yeah. I mean, that's one of the good things, though, what he's leaving with that in place. If he was leaving us with, I think it was when Fergie left, and they literally had, so many bang average players. They managed to win the league, obviously, and stuff, but we kind of left it where they had to rebuild and stuff like that. So he's leaving us in a good place. But yeah, I think FPL wise, if you bring in Virgin as well, just to touch on that, Charles.
Virgin.
Virgil, not Virgin. If you bring in Virgil van Dijk in, you're going to then potentially struggle to get Salah if you want him, if we double in 25. So you've got to think about that one as well in terms of funds, because there is a certain Norwegian back for Man City who
can I ask, is it really worth trying to rush to get Mo Salah back for, should it be announced double game week 25?
Not at the moment, no. I mean,
I don't think so.
If it gets announced, what you do know is that who we've got to pick from Liverpool players, i.e. Jota, Trent, Darwin.
Jota and Trent, they're your top 2 picks right now.
Yeah, but what I'm saying is that basically Salah comes back, say he is fit, there's no problems, no issues. He's back for Brentford, he's back for Luton. He's more than likely going to be the minutes guy. He'll play more minutes than anyone else. We have also, though, got the cup final, so you could see that maybe his minutes are slightly compromised if we play Luton at home. Could he then, not play as many? So people will automatically. I mean, we've seen what's happened with Connor Bradley playing amazing at the minute. FPL people have brought him in, and he's literally, it's crazy. So Mo Salah, one of the best players ever in the game, to say that people aren't going to bring him in for 25, it's going to happen. It's inevitable if he is fit.
Yeah. Okay. Well, speaking of fixtures, we'll go straight to them now. So I presume Arsenal or Liverpool's a standout fixture for you. Is that correct out of all of this, or is it something else?
No, I think you've got it spot on, Chaz. I think that is the biggest fixture of the weekend. Everton Spurs. I mean, Spurs,
I did like that on the notes.
Yes, Everton Spurs. I mean, you just don't know what to expect from Everton. Have they kind of lost that initial kick and that drive when they got that deduction? and they were winning games, keeping clean sheets. And I mean, just a note, by the way, Jordan Pickford just basically keeping cleans now and
He's got the
is
most
right
clean sheets.
up there, yeah, right up there in FPL goalkeepers and so on, which is crazy, to be honest.
He's just been sleeping all season, to be honest.
Yeah. So I'd say our game is the pick of the weekend, to be honest. Yeah. What about you?
So Spurs game second best, only because I'm interested to see what the rotation Postecoglou installs based on his players, because I think arguably Spurs, in terms of a plethora of options they have the best attack in the league. But for me, it's Monday night at Brentford, Man City, only because how many minutes does Haaland play? Does Kevin De Bruyne start again? Does Phil Foden keep a spot? Does Bernardo Silva get back into that team? And then what's the City defence look like? And does Kyle Walker get back into that? It's more who starts than anything.
Yeah. It's tough at the minute because Pep's in a similar position with Klopp. He's got players coming back. John Stones played. Diaz, Diaz was on the bench. Bernardo didn't get any minutes either. He brought Haaland on for De Bruyne. He's in that position where he can kind of, pick the game based on game to game, pick his players and so on. I do think Bernardo comes back in. I do think that Haaland starts. I think he's going to play a stronger back four, or Walker will probably come back in and play. Brentford are looking decent at the minute. Ivan Toney's back in the fold.
Yes.
I don't think this is a game that City can afford to take lightly. Before you know it, they've dropped points and so on. So I think he will play close to what his strongest team is on Monday, Pep. But in terms of FPL, Alvarez, I mean, does he still start? That's someone you didn't mention who's now just
I think he still starts away Brentford. I think Haaland plays 30, just over 30 plus minutes, and then Alvarez plays for an hour because they're going to slowly adjust Haaland back into game time. And they're not in much of a rush because Alvarez has done a good job in his place.
Yeah, he's done great. I mean, I've always said that Alvarez should be in that same position as a striker as Haaland. I don't think he benefits when he's in behind and he's playing like a KDB role and things like that. I think he's too deep, not involved enough. He likes to shoot, and he's got a better shot than Darwin Núñez, in my opinion, in terms of on target. So yeah, it'd be a shame for Alvarez if he starts the game, happy days. But I just think now that it's going to be tough for him with Haaland coming back, and we don't know. Obviously, it's so up in the air. Does Haaland start? Does he get minutes? We'll have to wait and see, won't we?
One player I'd like to discuss before I go through the transfer traffic, and it starts with a T, likes to do this, and then Spurs player did that in return. Ivan Toney, 18 points in the last 2 game weeks. It does have the horrible run of fixtures imaginable. What's your take on him? I don't think at the moment, still.
Yeah, I think what's difficult at the minute is, as I say, I think before we were talking about doubles and we were talking about blanks and things like that. It is really those sort of things that kind of we're looking at when using these transfers and things like that. Whether you've got chips and stuff. But Brentford have a double in 25. We know that already for certain.
Possible.
They're 2 tough games though, right? Liverpool,
City and Liverpool.
Toney plays in 29, which is great. It's a great fixture.
I think it might be best to buy him after that double game week, as bizarre it is.
It's not a bad shout if you've got no other kind of things, because
he plays in that big game.
Where you're going to struggle is, though, for example, you've got a Darwin Núñez, right? Then Núñez blanks in 26. He's probably going to blank in 29. There you go. Núñez.
Yeah, there you go. No-brainer.
No, Núñez to Toney. If not, though, Isak is another one. Sorry, we don't know the FA.
Yeah, Cup. I think you get rid of Isak now.
Yeah, or it's Isak, someone like that. The only issue is if you've got a Watkins, right, which a lot of us have,
or Dominic Solanke,
both of those could potentially play in 29. Yeah, and not only that, Watkins' fixtures are really great over the next, I think it's
Dominic Solanke's outside of 25 and 26. So it could be a bit of merit going from Solanke to Tony. But Solanke, he's been one of the best strikers this season.
Yeah. I mean, we'll know the outcome of whether Watkins is playing in 25 next week when the replay of the FA Cup. So Chelsea, Villa. Basically, if Chelsea win that, Villa play in 29, and there you go. He's a hold. So yeah, Tony's a hard, consideration. Madison's back, as you say, in talking about these sort of things to do with darts and celebrations and mopeds.
Brendan Johnson. Yeah.
You're right, Chas.
Yeah, no, that's Brendan Johnson after he scored. Don't worry. You didn't miss much. I know you at Anfield. I was trying to keep track of all games, and all they were doing is trying to be like Luke Littler in front of the darts.
Yeah. So Madison's back as well, but Spurs blank in 26. I know a few people have got Richarlison, right, who's been a great pick, hasn't he?
He's been good.
He's been really good. Yeah. He's been almost been like a Jared Bowen, just like consistent, getting the 7-8 points.
7-8 points.
Yeah. So yeah, that's kind of where I'm looking at in the minute. I mean, obviously it's team dependent, isn't it, as well?
It is.
What you need, what you want to do, how much money you've got, and so on. But yeah, Tony's not a bad shout, I don't think.
Well, the question is, does Tony make the top 5 in terms of transfer traffic? And he does not, of all people. So the top 5, unsurprisingly, goes Salah, Foden, Alvarez, despite getting the 13 points, third most transferred out. And Jared Bowen is the second. I'm only just seeing this one as the second most transferred out player. João Pedro most transferred out. Now, just before I go to transfers in, does that surprise you?
I am surprised actually by this.
I am, especially by 4th, 3, and 2.
Yeah, people are making, moving mad, I suppose is the phrase, because Haaland most, De Bruyne most. I mean, the De Bruyne, I should say. It's hard to say the De Bruyne. Isn't as surprising because I think was he the top transfer last game week anyway, or for 22?
Yeah, 1.3 million, which is the third most transfers in a player's had in the entire fantasy game.
So he's still up there, especially after him getting that assist. Jota, expect that one. I think it's Gordon and Trippier. I know they've got a great fixture run. I think
they have a good fixture run.
Yeah, they're the two that I'm a bit surprised about, but it's a home game against Luton, who've just battered Brighton 4-0, bear in mind. I know it was at home, but, no pushovers. And then Newcastle play Forest away and Bournemouth at home. So it is a great fixture run, and I can see why people are going for that. But I'm just kind of thinking it is a little bit surprising. I mean, they are players that blank in 29, more than likely as well, Charles, by the way. It's the transfers out that I'm surprised about, as I'm sure you are as well, right?
I am by, 2nd to 4th. I just want to get to the transfers in. So I'm not actually surprised by Gordon because I think he might be Newcastle's best asset right now, fantasy-wise. Trippier, I think he's got the potential, but it's just more can Newcastle keep a clean sheet. But I do get the reasoning behind why people are going for him now. And the rest I'm not surprised by.
Yeah, it makes sense. I mean, Trippier, you never know, could go back to keeping his clean sheets, getting assists, hauls for the next 3. If you've got him, you probably keep him. I would not sell him. But yeah, I mean, the Conor Bradley Trent thing is interesting. But yeah, the transfers out, Foden, people taking Foden out. I will mention that actually. I was going to say it before when we were looking at our teams, and I didn't. And that is that Foden out on the right makes less appeal than Foden through the middle. And if he is out on the right at the moment now with KDB back, Alvarez, Haaland, all these players, Bernardo, it's one of those. Realistically, he would be a sell. Normally, he would be a sell. However,
you've got double.
He doubles in 25, so he's almost like you've just got to keep him. So it's frustrating. But Alvarez going out, interesting that he's one of the most as well. After you saying you think he'll start Brentford, people are already jumping ship and getting Haaland in. It's very, very interesting.
5 days break in between, which does help Man City. They'll welcome that because it's usually shorter turnarounds.
Absolutely. Just a few comments I want to go.
Yeah, let's go. Let's catch up. I reckon. I think it's from
Quentin. I'll go with Quentin. Go. Thoughts on Johnson to Maddison or Jesus to Højlund? Now, I think Johnson to Maddison. Wait. Well, I think Johnson to Maddison, we can probably park that one. I think that one can wait at the minute, only because Spurs blank in 26. And now this one is more important, I suppose, Chazza. I know that Quentin's a United fan, and Højlund, all of a sudden, since not being able to score, he's got himself a couple of goals and a couple of assists here and there, hasn't he?
Because he's waiting for a miracle to come.
Haven't I?
No.
Yeah, he's not waiting for a miracle anymore anyway. But United play West Ham at home. They do, I think, potentially looking like they will blank in 29, but they've got Villa away then in 24. 25, it's Luton away. Fulham at home then in 26. So they've got a pretty nice run. On the basis that Quentin is a United fan and Højlund is playing well at the minute, I don't hate that. And I think he will get some cash back, right? Jesus is he 8 mil at the minute? About around that?
Yeah, Højlund's cheaper, and I actually think he's better value at the moment.
Yeah.
I really like Højlund as a differential pick. I think United have got their groove back.
Ish, yeah, they kind of have. I mean, Casemiro still doesn't look, like what we thought he would, like in the olden days and stuff. But if they have got players coming back, I do not hate that move for Quentin at all. I mean, he's playing well, Højlund. Next one.
This is interesting. I don't think so. I think there's a bigger gap between Trent and Bradley as opposed to James and Gusto, because Trent is not as injury prone. But Bradley's probably the better backup, or should I say backup quarterback, as opposed to Gusto.
Yeah. I can see where Colm's going with that one.
Yeah, I can see it too.
But I just think that, obviously injury comes into it. But at the same time, I think from an FPL point, you just don't mess with it. It's like, you just don't mess with it, because like with James and Gusto, you're probably going to get stung at some point if you get James in. Trent's at 8.5, crazy money. So if you've got him, you probably just keep him for now with the double coming up. But yeah. What was that you brought up, Chaz? What was that?
Oh, no, sorry. Get Bradley on the Weetabix. I agree. No, we need to go to that because that was good, Gary. But I want to go to this. Sorry, I didn't mean it. I didn't realise your question. Odegaard for weeks. Since I have 2 free transfers, should I change him? My midfield right now is with Richarlison, Foden, Saka, Odegaard, Salah. Well, my thing is that I'm not sure how many strikers he's playing, so it's a bit hard to gauge what he wants.
Well, my thing is that John's probably playing. He's more than likely playing 2, right, up top with that midfield.
Is it Andrew Odegaard?
Oh, say that with there. Yeah, no 5. No, what am I talking about? Salah's injured, obviously. So he's playing 4 in the middle. He's keeping
Salah.
You what?
I would get rid of Salah before getting rid of Odegaard because he's.
Yeah, well, yeah, I agree. I'd get rid of him. Who would you go for, though? Who would you then bring in, Chaz?
It depends what his budget is. That's how I see it.
Budget's not going to matter. If he's taking out Salah, he can get anyone, can't he? But getting him back, you might want to keep the money there. But, he's not got an issue with who to bring in terms of...
Yeah, if Salah's out, I'll bring in Kevin De Bruyne now.
Ooh. I think John will probably like that one. Oh, no. There we go. I thought so. Intended on keeping Salah till back.
Okay, so you really want to get... I don't really know what his budget is, but can I be honest? I'll probably best to get back to that question once he sends the budget information. I want to get to this one next. Borden to Gordon Nuyata. This is a good question.
Borden to Gordon, did you just say? Borden to Gordon.
Borden to Gordon. The policeman.
Or Jota.
It's been a long Friday, hasn't it? I would go Thiago Jota for the highly ceiling.
Oh, God. Oof. What I will say, Colm, is Jota did go down a couple of times at the game on Wednesday. And, I think he'll be fine for Arsenal Sunday with that rest in between. But bear in mind, if Salah does come back in 25, Jota's minutes and so on, Darwin might be injured. I say injured. He's left the stadium with a boot and so on. So we'll see how that pans out. I don't like Anthony Gordon for obvious reasons, but I don't think it's a bad pick. I
don't think it's a bad pick.
Given this next 3 games for Newcastle, I don't mind that at all. And I think obviously it'll save you, a couple of mil? Just under. So I'd just favour Gordon.
You'd favour Gordon. I'd go Jota. We'll leave it as that. I've got the next comment here. No, wait, hang on. No, sorry, wrong one. Solanke, Tony, or Darwin for Haaland? Now, we'll answer this, and I've got a discussion question for you. So let's go and answer this. Who would you... Oh, God. Well, you keep Tony for the double, or else what was the point of bringing him in? I'd keep Solanke. And Darwin might have a double as well, so that makes it really hard.
So what's your answer then, Chaz? It's not helpful.
Yeah, so I've got to... Oh, geez, that's hard. I'll go... Yeah, Darwin out.
It's the obvious answer, in my opinion. Yeah. You can keep Solanke. You're keeping Tony just because he's double and he plays in 29. Darwin, obviously, there might be a bit of a doubt injury-wise. Yes, he does double in 25. There is also a cup final. Although you don't really want to probably be taking Liverpool players out, it's not ideal. If Haaland's back and you don't go there, his ownership's going to go back up. You probably want to captain him in a few of these games that City have got. So unfortunately, it is Darwin out. I am finding that there's a lot of striker options at this point in the season. There's Watkins, there's Darwin, there's Solanke, Haaland, Cunha, Tony as well. It's ridiculous at the minute. Yeah, it's ridiculous.
Yeah, but can't mention one person that no one's mentioned at all season. Adebayo from Luton Town. Adebayo from Luton Town. Got a hat trick. Just saying.
Yeah, he did.
Would you go there? That's a question.
No, he's 4.8, right?
That's not bad.
And Luton obviously are great at home, but there are games where he's not going to do anything. And with, as I say, some of the players we've mentioned, like a Watkins, better teams, better fixtures. I think Cunha's been a under the radar great pick for people all this season. Great pick. So Darwin out. I think we have to answer that question, quite comfortably. Right. I should say. Right. I know.
I think Adebayo sound may have just started trending. I don't know, but someone caught it. Yeah. And fair play to you, Has. I'll leave it as that. I'll just go to the discussion point. So, unless there was anything else you wanted to discuss, Freddie, before I move on.
I don't think so. I mean, Game Week 26 and Man City.
Yes, let's go there because you weren't on last episode. So that's going to be hard. It will be.
Game Week 26, right? How many players have you got?
So right now it's Palmer, Porra, and Doughty. But my plan is to get a couple of extra double game week players. How I see it is it might be easier to go 2 free transfers heading into game week 26 instead of game week 25 because the exit plan is more important than the entry plan.
Okay.
Because you don't want to end up on 9 to 10 players due to an overload of doubles. And I think having 11 could be important for game week 26. Yeah.
It could, in terms of the fixtures, anyway. Obviously, with Liverpool, Chelsea, Spurs, and Luton not playing. The standout games really is City v Bournemouth. So you're going to want 3 of those. Villa have a nice fixture against Forest at home as well. Are we going to own any United players at that point? Who knows? But they play Fulham at home as well. So, and Wolves actually a good one. Another one, Sheffield United at home. So, Pedro Neto comes into the conversation again. Although, Mr. Hwang will be back.
He will be. It doesn't affect Neto because Hwang goes on the left, Neto goes on the right.
Okay. But again,
Hwang's
on penalties. Another pen merchant in our teams.
Yeah, they both combined really well before Neto got injured in October.
Yeah.
They were like Callum Wilson, Ryan Fraser of 6 seasons ago.
Yeah, I am thinking about that Palmer to one of those guys for 26. They're definitely in my mind.
That's interesting. That really is.
It would be helpful if they play in 29, but at the moment it's looking like Bournemouth are probably going to go through in the cup and more than likely Wolves. So I think we're talking about Solanke and Wolves players. More than likely are probably going to, they're going to blank in 29. So it makes it difficult bringing them in 26. If you can bench one of them, happy days, all good. But I'm currently sat on Gusto, Palmer, Jota, Adogi. So 4 for me in terms of 26 blankers.
4 for you.
Yes.
That's not too bad. If you're 1 to 2 players off, and that's pretty good.
Yeah. But in terms of, I think one last thing to discuss is the rush for Man City players. They've been a topic we've spoke about it on the pod. If you've got one player, for example, if you've got a Foden, because I know there's some people out there who've got just Foden, do you prioritize 1 transfer for a City player or 2?
I think so now, because their fixtures are so appealing, and they were, because I had Burnley at home. They got Brentford away, which is winnable. Then they have Everton, and then the double game week begins. So I feel it's a priority getting them in early instead of just before the double game week.
And would you, more interestingly, get a defender from City or not?
This is a very interesting question. I would prioritise getting Liverpool defence, because despite City probably winning more often as opposed to Liverpool are more secure in getting clean sheets, probably because of the fact of Virgil van Dijk.
Okay.
They've just got such a solidified defence. But with City, they'll be 3-0 up, sub some players off, and then, we'll let a Burnley player score in the 93rd minute. Happens every time.
I mean, we're not the best at keeping clean sheets either this season, to be honest. So, yeah, it's a tough one. And with the City lineup, I mean, who knows who's going to play? You could go for a Ruben Diaz, but as you say, doesn't keep a clean sheet. Almost doesn't feel worth investing in City defenders. But,
who's more nailed? That's the thing.
I'm going to mention something now. Now, not that I want to draw any attention to what's happened on Twitter, because there's been a lot lately in terms of announcements or leaks or whatever you want to call it. And that's Kyle Walker. He didn't play against Burnley. He was on the bench. We know there's some off-field stuff going on there with, Pep being asked that in his presser, but, he didn't want to talk about it. Can you still go for a Kyle Walker, say? Do you think he comes back into the team?
I think you wait till that Brentford game that he starts. I think Ake could be all right, because the last time he didn't play any minutes, all in one game, 0 minutes, was away at Aston Villa in mid-December.
Yeah, okay.
So they kept a clean sheet against Sheffield United, and the one before that, funnily enough, I went to the game, the Manchester Derby in October.
Yeah.
A long time.
Interesting one. But yeah, we move on, Chaz. I think that's discussion-wise, mate.
Discussion, I've still got more, actually. You wouldn't believe it. So, I was listening to the official FPL pod today, and they had a really good question. So I'm going to hand it over to you. If you had to choose any 3 forwards in the game to own right now, who would it be? 3 strikers.
3 strikers in the game.
Right now.
Right now. Oh, God. It is a tough one. I would have... Let me go to this week. I probably would, if I could, have Tony over Watkins. I think it's really close. I think it is really close. And albeit Tony does have 2 tough fixtures in 25 in that double, I still expect him to do something. And I think it's not only that, it's the period between 25 and 29. I think that Tony will pick up points. Watkins has been a little bit frustrating, if I'm being honest, to own, just because of his price. I mean, he costs 8.8 million. He was 8.9 at one point. I did get him in well before that, obviously. So I just think that over the last, since game week 15, Watkins has been a little bit underwhelming. And there's great fixtures. For example, Sheffield United, they drew 1-1. He didn't return. Man United, he didn't get a return in that. Everton, he didn't get a return in that. It's only really Newcastle, Burnley, and Brentford who he's managed to score against. Hold it.
Same question, different human being coming in.
No, but
I won't do it. You do it.
No, I wasn't going to say that. I was going to say,
Quentin, good evening to you. You said you weren't joining, but here you are, risen from the ashes.
Yeah, mate. I had parent duty, mate, so I'm back on.
That's all right. All good. Well, firstly, good evening to you. Straight off the bat, who are the best 3 forwards to own in the game if you had the choice?
I would say I really like Tony, but the fixtures aren't great. But I'd say probably Tony, Watkins, and Hoyland.
Hoyland, okay. Yeah, right. I'll go Cunha, Solanke, and Haaland as he's coming back from it. Of all players on.
Mine would be Tony, as I was saying, I think. And I would go Tony, Haaland, and it's hard not to go Darwin, but I would say Tony, Haaland, and Solanke. Yeah. Those would be my three: Tony, Haaland, Solanke.
Yeah, that's fair. Quentin, if you're able to, would you be able to show us your team, please, in regards to points from last game week, just on the screen if you can, along with you pick your team on standby 2. Reedy, so this is very interesting, okay? I want to talk about the Bournemouth-Luton game very quickly because that's all of a sudden coming to discussion on the Twitter sphere. Where do you see that coming to be placed?
The which game? Sorry, apologies about that.
Luton game where, unfortunately, Tom Lockyer had I don't want to mention it.
Yeah, no, of course. I mean, where do I see that landing? You mean where do I see that bit again?
Yeah, where do you see that landing? Is that more game week 28 or is it later in the season?
I think in terms of those two teams not having, the cup and other things like that, cup games and so on, I do think that they can wait on that one. I mean, the Premier League will obviously want to prioritise it in terms of when they get that game played and so on. But I just think in comparison to Liverpool, as I was saying earlier, us being in the League Cup final, FA Cup still, Europa's to come. I just think it creates a big headache for the Premier League to try and move that game later on, postpone it. So, yeah, 28, I think, was it, if neither of them have got a cup fixture, was it 27 or 28 maybe?
28, I think that might be the best get.
Yeah, they could slot it in there. So, yeah, I see that being a better option, personally.
Quentin, I just want to check in case we need to discuss any further.
Yeah,
how are you going?
Just trying to...
Just press the present button and then share screen and then I'll load it up whenever I'm ready. Oh, yeah, got it. Cool. So additional points have just got to come up, I think.
Oh, sorry, I'll do my points. That's my...
Yeah, points for 55 points. So where are you ranked exactly? So I'll just try and full screen now.
About 630K.
630K. Okay, that's not too bad. What I love about it straight away is Brennan Johnson. Bang! Straight away.
Mate, I love Brennan Johnson, mate. He's such a good player. He's just... I think it's Madison back has helped him a bit because he's more of the run behind the defensive line than actually create the chances on his own. So I think Madison coming back is a big plus for him.
It is. Yeah, what I like is Gabriel Jesus too, because a lot of people sold him on the way to Erling Haaland, but you held on to him, which was a good fixture to hold for too. Yeah,
he's one of those players that he looks like he's going to score about 3 goals a game, but just never does. So I was pretty confident on the weekend that the points were going to be quite spread out in that Arsenal side. So I was pretty happy that Jesus and Saka both got me points.
Quentin, just heading into game week 23, what does your team look like and your transfer plans in general?
Well, I made a transfer this morning. So I bought in Kevin De Bruyne for Pascal Gross.
Okay, yeah. All right. Reedy, what's your take on that? Because Pascal Gross, a lot of managers seem to have got him in 3 game weeks ago because of Brighton's great fixture run, which consisted of 10 games. But now he's got rid of him. Was that probably the right decision when you look on it?
Yeah, I mean, like, Brighton's fixtures look great still, don't get me wrong. It's just you don't know what Brighton are gonna turn up, and the problem with it is that I think Gross hasn't always been, in the last 2 games anyway, been on the set pieces and stuff. So it does make him a less attractive player to get. I don't say I'd regret that move because I have him as well. But I'm just kind of hoping he's not really a priority to get rid of at the minute. So I'm just kind of hoping to get something from him in the next few games. And then I'll probably move him on after that. So yeah, I don't mind that. I don't mind that.
And then I've sort of got a second move, which would be for a -4. So I'm looking at either a Saliba to Trippier, a Jesus to possibly Tony, or I can do Brennan Johnson to James Maddison.
Yes, you asked. I think Quentin asked before, didn't he?
Yeah, save a comment.
Johnson to Maddison. Yeah, Johnson to Maddison. I think it's about I think it's a sideways move for that, though. I can understand why you want to get Maddison, but I think until Son's back, I wouldn't really get him.
Probably all right for away at Everton.
Yeah, but then you have 27 to 29 Spurs playing 29, right? You could potentially hold back and wait for that move, and at that point, Son will be back. Maddison's obviously, if he's still fit and playing, you could look at getting him in. When are you? I know this is a bit left field in terms of questions, but when are you considering wildcarding, Quentin?
I think I've locked it in for maybe week 27 because I'm confident Salah's probably going to be back around that 26, 27. So I was thinking wildcarding and then sort of changing my side around to be able to fit in Salah, and then it'll just depend with Foden and De Bruyne who's looking the best, and sort of one of them will stay and one of them will go, which will then free up a bit more money to sort of, I guess, even my team out a bit more because my defense is pretty slim at the moment. If you look down here, got Soufal and Taylor, so I'm looking probably like a Van Heck transfer in as my 4.0 defensive asset because he's sort of, featuring in the bonus when they do keep the clean sheets.
Yeah, I don't mind that. I mean, Charlie Taylor is an absolute effing legend of the game in FPL because, he just comes out with points when you don't expect it. And, if you're lucky enough to start him, if you do go with that decision, you'll have reaped the reward. So it's a shame he's injured. But the wildcard 27 is interesting.
I've not heard that one.
Yeah, wildcard 27, free hit 29, I think. And then bench boost, possibly like those later double game weeks. I think, 37, 36 around there.
Yeah, I think what it does make it difficult with that strategy, Quentin, is that you've got blanks, a lot of blanks in 29, which you're covering with the free hit, which is fine. So you will get your team back after wildcarding. But I think the bench boost is the interesting one, is that you're going to have to, because it's so far away, obviously, you're going to have to then plan to get to that, to have a good bench boost. I mean, you've got loads of transfers to do it, but do you think that you're happy with that kind of thing, leaving your bench boost until later?
It's not cemented in yet because I think if depending on obviously how my wildcard goes, if I've got an opportune week where I've actually got a decent bench cover, I might even just pull the bench boost then. So it's sort of not cemented in for the bench boost, but I think the wild card, I'm going to want to get Salah back in. I might give it a week to see how he goes before I sort of go into him. But if he's back the same form before he left, I think, wild card's probably the only way I'm going to get him in unless I sort of do a couple of -4s.
Yeah. It's a nice team, though. I like it, Chaz. What do you think?
It's very good looking, just like all of the statues I see in the Louvre Museum in Paris. I'll give you that one. So I am the Paris baby and shit. All right, Chris. Sorry, Reedy. I can't believe I called you by your first name for once. Reedy, time to show our teams and our transfers heading into game week 28. I'm going to let you ready to rumble first up. It is massive, short turnaround. Not a whole lot in regard of a transfer traffic, but it could still be enough data in terms of gauging the reading on where to go for this game week. Reedy, what have we got?
We are currently with this for this game week. One thing I want to quickly get out of the way is I benched Leno this week and played Areola, which I don't think many people had that sort of conundrum. For everyone, it was clear that you'd play Areola because your second keeper's crap, or it was the Bravka or something like that. And I benched Leno for his 8 points, which was a bit frustrated to say the least. Now he does have a nice fixture against Burnley, so obviously I'm gonna go for him over Areola this week. So I'm happy with that. Gusto, he's in at the minute. I've still got him against Wolves. Palmer. I mean, it's a nice team in my opinion. I really like it. A lot of good home fixtures, but Haaland is is in, isn't he? I got him in last week. People are probably looking at getting him this week, whether it takes a -4 and captain. If you brought in De Bruyne, and I mean, it's interesting actually because this is a great sort of segue into either both of your teams, or especially Quentin's, because he's got De Bruyne. So it's kind of, did you have Haaland, did you, as well, Quentin?
Yeah, I got him in last week. Same
got
as
him in
you,
anyway. So
I was going to wait, but I seen his
Yeah.
stats against Burnley, and I thought he could definitely come off the bench and score like 3 goals. So I didn't want to be on the other side of that.
Yeah, so there's people that got in De Bruyne that have Trent that kind of blocks the Haaland move without two threes or a -4. So, I mean, I'm happy with that team. What do you think, boys?
Yeah.
Sorry, what was that?
Are you happy with that, Quentin? What do you reckon?
Sorry, I was reading Colin Burglar's
Columns,
comment.
yeah,
Sorry.
columns about Fulham. Fulham.
Sorry, what was the question?
Yeah, so I'm just saying, like, do you think the way the team's set up? I know you're looking at that bench thinking
Saka on the bench is so uncomfortable looking at it, but I don't know who you get rid of because it's either Gross or Ollie Watkins.
Yeah,
No, not Watkins, man. Come on.
Yeah, Watkins is the type of player that could easily come out and score 2 goals on the weekend, which you don't want to be on the other side of that.
Yeah.
Pascal Gross out is tough because of the fixtures, but also watching the way they played on the weekend. If that's going to be sort of every second week, I think you might be able to do without Gross unless he starts sort of hauling and you can get him back in. But I think that midfield spot's quite valuable at the moment with the amount of options that's sort of present at the moment.
Yeah. I mean,
I'll probably go Saka for Gross.
And I would say, mate, Rashford, I know I'm probably going to get laughed at in the comments, but the last 2 games he's actually shown a bit of confidence on the ball. He's actually beating players and making those runs into the box, also putting good balls into the box to Højlund. So we saw that last season, and then I think he went on scored in the next straight 13 games. So it's also a little option there.
Saying I should get Rashford in, are you, Quentin? Throwing a little,
double Arsenal against Liverpool. Oh,
yeah. But I understand where you're coming from. I do agree. However, this is literally bias. This is literally bias. I mean, look at last week, boys. Look at last week. I mean, what happened? Liverpool v Chelsea, benched.
Benched.
Liverpool v Arsenal, benched. Like at this point, I'm just going, okay, I'm never normally biased. I'm normally going, right, well, Saka could quite easily score against us. Palmer could have scored against us or got 2 penalties, on bloody Wednesday. So I'm getting away with it a little bit, but
Arsenal looked shaky at the back though, and the way Liverpool played. As much as I dislike Liverpool, they were on something. They could have won about 10-0.
Oh, it was ridiculous. Yeah, I mean, if we'd have gone 3-0 up and Darwin would have scored, who knows what it would have ended up. But Saka's the one. I know Saliba's fine. I'm comfortable with that one. But Saka, obviously for Gross, could end up, doing me over big time. So we'll see. But this is me now. I'm kind of set.
I like it. I think
I do like it as well.
There's potential for like an 80+ score if everything goes to plan. Massive week.
I think the key thing for me is going back to Brighton is if Palace have or without Eze and Elise this weekend, that could be massive.
Yeah, that's big for Brighton.
So we'll wait on that injury news and find out because they both, Elise kind of went off after being down. I think Eze as well picked up like a slight knock. So I'll wait and see on that. And, I'll be happy then having that.
Do you think that they've done this to keep each other company? They don't like to be alone in the physio room?
One gets injured, they're like, oh, right, okay. Yeah, hamstring's gone. Hamstring's gone again. Could be, you never know. But yeah, that's how I'm going, boys, for game week 23. On to the next one. Who's next?
Could be me, to be honest. So I'm same formation, but this is how I am. So I like the team. I do. I think Pyro's always going to be there. Doughty's second best defender this game week. I think Taylor's injured. So it's down to the front seven really speaks for itself. You'd always bench Garnacho considering his price, in fairness, because who would you take out? Do you field Zinchenko or Gabriel?
Oh,
that's hard.
I think it's probably Zinchenko, only because he's got attacking potential.
I think so too.
Potential, I say, it might be limited, but yeah. You're in a difficult spot this week, Chazza, really, because your team picks itself. But am I right in saying you probably don't really like your defense because of the fixtures?
I agree. Yeah. Don't like it.
Yeah.
I hate defense most weeks. I think it's just.
Get rid of it.
Yeah. Oh, but I'm rolling, by the way, guys. I forgot to say.
Yeah. I'm glad you are. I'm rolling too. Are you rolling, Quentin?
No, I've already made my transfer, so I've got possibly a -4 though. We'll see how tonight pans out when I'm watching the Socceroos at 2 a.m. Could be a few risky moves.
Actually, I want to speak about that game. I'm glad you did because it was on the run sheet. So I'll just get rid of out of my screen by the way. So that's a big Asian Cup game, Australia against South Korea, because Shulman Son is involved and Hwang Hee-chan. So if South Korea lose, both of those players will be back for game week 24. I'll go with you. That would be a double win, but we're Aussies, so we want a bloody win. Quentin, look, Reedy, if you have a clue about Asia Cup, I'll go to you after Quentin. But Quentin, how do you see the game going in that one? Very briefly.
I think it's going to go to extra time. Like looking at the past 3 times we've played them, it's been real cagey and, I don't know if Reedy's tuned into any of our games so far, but we've played probably not our best football, and Korea haven't played their best football. I think this is going to be quite a cagey game. It wouldn't surprise if it goes to extra time, but I think we can do enough. I could see us getting a goal and then possibly just grinding out a win. So.
Sorry.
Really exciting game then, guys.
Really it's going to be. I think it'll be a good game. It's just. I think it's going to be like a chess match type of game. It's not. It's going to be for the football purists, not for the casual want to watch like Man United Wolves this morning. With,
I'm just not getting up for it, despite
7 goals.
It's worst possible time slot 2:30. But what I do admire is Colm's comment. Did Reedy just say he's rolling? Will someone help me up the floor, please? Oh my god.
Doing the old. Is it the Elliot? Elliot rollover.
Yeah, well, that's it. Roll for me. I mean, I've got Holland in last week. I've took my hit column. It's done. So I did take a hit, but there's no need this week. We can allow it. Roll over. Nice, comfy position for next week.
I might just spam you with possible transfers for your side, Reedy, and I'll see if you crack.
I'm just getting constant ping, ping, ping. I'm like, who's this at this time? Like Quentin's up watching the game or whatever. I mean, just on that, by the way, is it 2 a.m. your time that game's on?
Yeah, 30 a.m.
Oh, God. Wow.
It's terrible. I'm thinking of going for bike ride at 4:45. But anyways, Stephen Smalley's hit the chat now. Says, hope you're all well. Top 500K for me. Missed the start stream. We'll watch later. If that's his end of season goal, he's going to smash that. I don't know what planet he's on, this guy.
Mm-hmm.
Mate, I reckon he watches the rest of the stream and then rolls into the start of the Socceroos fixture against South Korea.
It's definitely. I mean, 3:30 our time. It's on. So I'll do the school run. I'll keep an eye on it. I won't be able to watch it.
A few pints, mate. A few pints, and put your Socceroos jersey on somewhere in the back there.
Yeah, mate, I'll put me budgie smugglers on and me bandana, and I'll be set. Or me thongs. Yeah, I'll get me thongs, budgie smugglers, and bandana. I'll be ready, mate. Oh, brilliant.
Maybe a dingo's breakfast to wash it down.
Oh, 100%. I'll have that for breakfast, dinner, and tea, mate. But yeah, I mean, Smalley. By the way, mate, amazing. If you're still here, if you're still watching, smashed it. He's saying top 500K.
Yeah.
He's top 500. Not 500.
That K was a autocorrect.
Typo. Yeah, mate, get that K off there because, oh, God, Smalley's unbelievable.
Yeah, I was about to say, top 500K. That's where I'm at. It's not great.
Boomerang time. I don't know what you were, pointing to there with the whole boomerang. Are we talking an actual boomerang, Gary? Or are we talking about something else in someone's pants? I think we'll leave that for another time.
There'll be a separate pod for that.
Yeah. We're all turning up in our budgie smugglers. But on to FPL. I mean, are we going to look at Quentin's team for this week, or come on, Chazza?
We just did that, didn't we?
Yeah, just put it up.
Oh, you got it for this week? Was that the team?
Yeah.
We've just looked at it.
Oh, my bad.
I'll read it out to you. I've got
go on again, because I
Areola,
was still thinking about the points you got. The points. Go on. What is it?
Yeah, I've got Areola, Saliba, Poro, Purvis. Then I've got Saka, Foden, Johnson, De Bruyne, Palmer, Haaland, and Watkins with Jesus first bench.
Yes, I remember now. 3-5-2, right? Yes. Awesome. And the captain, who was the captain on?
It's on Foden, but I'll probably switch to Haaland or KDB. But I think all three. I think it could be a massive win for Man City this week. I think Brentford looked a little bit suspect in defense.
Wow. Interesting. Big week then. So basically, I'm Haaland. Quentin's Haaland or KDB. Chazza, your captain was on
De Bruyne
as well. So we're all going City this week, boys. Interesting, very interesting. Just in terms of the scout picks, in terms of final selection that I want to mention to you now. Interestingly, they've gone with Leno and goal, Trent, Walker, could be doubts in terms of starts, maybe. Porro and Gabriel. Then it's Richarlison, Saka, Foden, and Jota, which seems pretty standard in terms of who people own. And up top, Nunes and Alvarez. So,
Is it true about Nunes leaving for moon boot after the?
There's a thing basically saying Klopp said he left with a boot. He could be a doubt for Sunday.
Was he wearing it during the game?
No. Well, he played the. I get where you're coming from. 11 shots. Obviously, his penalty straight to the post. Fucking hit the bar with his head, albeit. It probably actually they should make him wear them, Quentin, because he might actually then score, get it on target. More surface area to hit the ball with. Oh God. But yeah, so Darwin owners, you never know. But Salah's set to remain out, boys.
Do you know much about the Salah? Because someone posted a video in our group chat of him doing a casual jog up the field, and he looked.
Yeah, right. I mean, we all look as FPL managers. We see something, we're like, oh my God! Like,
I'm not a physio, but
yeah, exactly. That's it. I mean, there's a difference between training on your own, light training, rehab. All these rehab things. The intensity, to training with the full team, to sprinting. I mean, I noticed he was jogging, but he wasn't sprinting. I still believe, Klopp's obviously said he'll remain out. I don't think we'll see him until minimum double game. Well, if it gets announced, obviously. But Brentford, I don't think he'll be back till 25. Hamstring injuries, there's obviously lower grades of tears and, stuff like that. The Bruyne one was massive. But you just don't want to potentially put him out for a longer period. So I think given that Arsenal, I know, is a massive game, we've got a really good squad at the minute. We've got, a good selection of players to choose from without Salah. We've been playing well without him. Same with Burnley at home. We can afford to go without him. So, yeah, bring him back in 25. And there you go, Quentin, straight in your basket, mate. But the only problem with that is you're gonna bench him on 26. So you were saying before about wildcard in 27. So you probably
that's up. I
7,
think I'm just going to hold it tight as much as it's if he does come back 25. I think I'm just going to hold to 27 because the double game week. I reckon even if he is fit, I reckon he plays one out of the two. Just of how good Liverpool are going at the moment. Yeah,
it could happen. It just depends because between 25 and 27. We've got a final, haven't we, in 26?
Yeah, true.
Weekend of 26. So we've got a final that he's got to hopefully probably want to play him in that, right, against Chelsea. So it just then depends if we do have the double against Brentford and Luton, how much he maybe features. If he's not 100% say back, how much he kind of features in those games. So that's something that you've got to, not consider from an FPL point, but I think 27, as you say, if you are wildcarding or even if you're not and you're just using a transfer to get him, that seems like the best time to get him at the minute.
I've got one question for you, Reedy. I got a mate who's a Liverpool fan that I work with, and he asked me this morning if Curtis Jones is worth bringing in as an enabler or whether he's just going to be...
Ooh. I'll answer that from my situation this season, and that was I tried to be clever, and I wildcarded and brought in Dominic Szoboszlai instead of Mo Salah. And we all know how that went. so it's a no from me, unfortunately. Great player. I'll say a great player. He's not a great player yet, but he's looking really good, comfortable. He's taking shots. I just will say that at the moment, we've got so many midfielders fit. So there's no guarantee that, well, A, he's going to play a full 90. He's either going to start and come off, or he's going to be benched and come on.
Yeah.
Is he going to be always shooting on sight or getting assists like De Bruyne? Probably not. If you've got no other moves and you think, sod it, go for him, then cool. But I just wouldn't. Yeah, I just wouldn't.
He's the same fella that Captain McAllister for his red card. So.
Oh no! Has he not learned anything, Quentin?
It was so good though, because we're at work and he had to go have his crib breaker on night shift, and he come back and he said, "Oh, how's the Liverpool game going? Is McAllister going good?" And I said, "Oh, he's not on the field." And he goes, "How did he get injured?" I'm like, "No, he got sent off." And he's like,
"I remember this. I remember you telling us this one. This is brilliant." He was absolutely fuming about. Absolutely. Was that the one where it got rescinded or not?
Yeah. Which was even better because he come to work the next week and he was proper filthy, and I'm like,
yeah. Oh. So listen, I've learned from my mistake. He needs to learn from his mistake. Just say I know from a mini league rival perspective, you're saying, yeah, do it all day. Jones gets sent off for the weekend. Happy days for you. But he should know better. Oh, yeah. Brilliant. You're right, Chaz. I think.
Yeah, can we get on the captain's corner? Is that all right?
Yeah, I was going to say, I think you're waiting for us to shut up so you can do your captain's corner, right?
Yeah, pretty much. I'm going to be short and sharp to the point. Then you can get back to your conversation. I'll just end the pod. Anyways, welcome back to Game Week 23, Captaincy Corner. Just like a 5-horse race, Melbourne Cup. Not sure if you've seen it before, but if you haven't, I'm sure you'll experience some wonderful wins on the YouTube videos. We start off with the standout Belgian, who's just like Mekhi Richards when he was the age of 19. Bursted onto the scene. That is Kevin De Bruyne, who has had a goal and an assist two goals and an assist since he's come back as a substitute away at Newcastle. Not this game week, that's just gone the previous one that's just been in game week 20. He's had a goal and an assist from his last 4 league games against the Beast. Probably the more popular choice, especially with Haaland's minutes being managed. Alvarez, despite getting the brace, we're not sure how many minutes he will play. And there's also Phil Foden to consider too. Another midfielder worth to consider is Richarlison, who's carried on with his goal-scoring form, especially from game week 16, having scored, I think it's 7 goals within the last 7 league games. Diego Jota's away at North London, at home to Arsenal. And surprisingly, he has a fantastic record at the Emirates. With his last 5 appearances at the ground, he's managed to register 4 goals and 2 assists. So if you want a bit of a late show on a Sunday, Jota Beslotted is your man. Cole Palmer at home to Wolves. Now, yes, he did kick a ball on Christmas Eve and got suspended until Christmas off, but you won't get that scenario this time around. He's had 3 double-digit hauls in the last 6 league games, and we saw how highlighted it can be with his away game at Kenilworth Road against Luton. And Dominic Solanke is the other option at home to Nottingham Forest, in which he scored his first career hat-trick for Bournemouth away there just before Christmas in a 3-2 win with all goals scored in the second half. That is all for the moment. I probably need to crash if I'm going to be dead set honest with you, but I hope your captain choice does not crash at all this game week. All the best. Bye.
Well, what did we think of that, Quentin? You were right, Chazza. Short, sharp, and sweet, mate. Absolutely brilliant. I think this week feels a little bit more clearer than last week's captain picks and choices, right? It was difficult last week, I feel. Anyone that went Saka was a bit brave, but also got rewarded. Foden was the sensible pick, right? and he got his 6 points, or you just went with Kevin De Bruyne. One thing before we drop off today and we end the podcast is I just want to say a big thanks to our sponsor, Bonus Bank. Basically, Bonus Bank is Australia's and New Zealand's best side hustle where you can make a guaranteed profit from bookmakers by taking advantage of their promotions or promotional offers even. Easy to learn tutorials, software. There's all sorts of stuff on there to get stuck into, basically, to increase your profits. And if you do want to use the code FPL Addicts to receive 25% off, then, that's your first month. You're more than welcome. So there's a link in the caption below. I'll add that in before we scoot off or shoot off or whatever you want to call it.
Yeah.
But boys, are we looking forward to this game week? I mean,
I don't mind a quick turnaround too. I think that's good.
Yeah. I mean, I don't mind it either. Get stuck in there. We've had too much FA Cup. We've got a big game, obviously, for you boys, Australia v South Korea in the Asia Games or Asia Cup or AFC Cup, whatever you want to call it. So best of luck to you boys. Hopefully you can get through on that one. There's no Australian FPL players, is there? So we're not gonna miss them. Or there might be, but not that we've got them in our teams.
Joe Gorgie, mate.
Yeah. yeah. But listen, thank you to everyone for tuning in. Absolutely brilliant. And it was great to have you on as well. Again, Quentin, I'm sure we'll have you on again at some point in the season, mate. But yeah, peace out. Good luck.
Yeah. That's like Brady. I'll play the outro too.
Cheers,
and
mate.
Also, eat shit, Jack.